Iron Claw is the most depressing movie this year because everyone died. In the last video, you told me that the real story is even worse. So I want to find out how.
Okay. You see that the father is kind of the villain. He pushed his sons to compete even when it was going to hurt them.
Now, I wouldn't wish wrestling on any of you. I only wrestle to provide for y'all, and I always hoped you boys would choose another profession.
Also, hearing him say, I never wanted you to be a wrestler, we were like,
right,
that's right. There was an element of like...
Now, Kevin is the oldest, played by Zac Efron. It's clear that wrestling is his biggest thing. That's all he wants to do. Plenty of opportunities, but wasn't quite getting the job done. So the dad picked David, the middle brother, to be the guy. He's obviously very talented at wrestling, but also at getting on the microphone. And he's going to go fight for the title. He's going to go to Japan. And they get the news that he died while he was there.
The eldest wrestler, David, died of an intestinal infection while touring Japan.
Now, in the movie, they said that he had a ruptured intestine or something like that, and that's how he died. But if you read about it, he died of a drug overdose. But the dad and the family did a real good job of kind of covering it up. It goes from you think, oh, this is just a perfectly Christian family. You know, they go to church, they pray together. And so they were being promoted even on a Christian network.
Sometimes you say, how can you be a professional wrestler, and beating up people and still love Jesus Christ?
In some of David's rants, that's kind of what he says. Like, we're the good guys. You're unwholesome. We're all about America and God. But behind the scenes, the guys are doing heroin and doing drugs and taking steroids and with women. So it was all a lie. The dad is he's all about the image and the way it looks on the outside.
I will never let go of Jesus' hand. I promise you that.
And what made him so bad is that even after a couple of his sons had died, he still went even further with it, with trying to get sympathy from the audience. He faked a heart attack.
He what?
He faked a heart attack.
But that wasn't in the movie.
That wasn't in the movie. So he was shameless in trying to promote the Von Erich name and the legacy and the family.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And then the other brother is an Olympian. You see Carrie's training. He's excited. The family's excited. And then it gets taken away from him. This was the height of the Cold War. The Olympics was in Moscow that year, and we didn't go.
The Olympics has been taken from you, the way professional football was taken from me. The world keeps taking from us, and I'm sick of it. I want to fight back. So, Carrie, I want you to join your brothers in the ring.
He says in a scene in the movie that his favorite son is Carrie.
The father has no qualms of saying, okay, you're my favorite son right now, but
yeah,
the ratings can change.
The rankings can change, yeah, but any time.
There's a lot of competition between them, but also a lot of caring.
So the father said, it's going to be between one of you. He goes, we're going to flip a coin. You see the coin go in the air and it goes black. So you don't see who won, and then the black just kind of fades down. And then you see Jeremy Allen White, and that's when he ended up winning the belt. He's the only one to actually win it. And then immediately after that, he has a tragic accident.
On the next hour, I thank God he's alive. But then he was on crutches. So he got injured, so that's fine. But then when he went to the fridge, his foot is gone.
The directing and the editing of this film were really good. It just slowly reveals what happens. But even after his son wins the belt, that's still not enough for him. Mikey, he's not really cut out for this. Mike wanted to be a musician, but that's something that was kind of a waste of time in his father's eyes. But it doesn't stop his father from pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. And then he has some kind of stroke or something. And then he's at a press conference after he comes out of a coma. He was in a coma, and now they're like, he's going to get back in the ring. We're going to get him back in the ring. And at that moment, I was like, wow, this man is horrible. You're basically trying to kill this kid. And that's what drives Mikey to commit suicide.
Inside the car, investigators found an unsigned, handwritten note. It said, Mom and Dad, I'm in a better place. I'll be watching.
And it was what drives Carrie to commit suicide.
The 21-year-old professional wrestler died last night of a gunshot wound to the head, apparently self-inflicted.
And meanwhile, Zac Efron, he starts to believe the curse is real.
Ever since I was a child, people said my family was cursed.
He wouldn't even sleep at home. He would go to the gym and sleep on the floor. And she was like, just come home. And he's like, I don't want the curse to affect you and my baby.
I don't want them to get it. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's heartbreaking. They make it really dramatic in the movie, which is good movie making, but when you read the reality, having a motorcycle wreck when you're drunk, that's not because of a curse. That's because of bad choices that you made. You know what I mean?
When Zac Efron fought Ric Flair at the end, he actually squeezed his face, and the referee tried to stop him. He's like, hey, this is not in the script. You're hurting the guy.
It was his moment to win the belt, and he was disqualified because he couldn't control his emotions. And then Zac Efron ends up becoming the guy who takes charge of the business because he's the only one left. And he realizes that his dad has not been paying him what he was supposed to be paying him this whole time. He even confronts him about it. And of course, the dad just yells at him, and the father never admits he's wrong.
This whole facade of, I want our family to have a legacy. Yeah, sure, but you're also a greedy son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes you wonder how the wife stood to be with him and to go through all that as she's watching her sons die.
I can't wear that black dress because they're gonna know that's the same dress I wore on the last 3 funerals of my son. Like, what the heck? Kevin almost choked his dad out. It's like, I thought he was gonna do it, but I guess that's still his father. And then they cut through like a dream-like sequence of Carrie walking and meeting his dead brothers. And they also met the little dead brother.
Fritz von Erich lost an infant son to accidental electrocution years ago.
You're my big brother that I never met.
That was one of the sweetest moments. Like, oh, okay, thank you for doing this.
Zac Efron does go back home. He succeeds in being a family man. He succeeds in being a good person.
You learn a lot from things that at one time you think, this is destroying you, but maybe it's destroying something that needs destroying.
And there's that scene at the very end, and I was going to ask you if you cried, Paul.
I did not cry.
He was sitting there crying, and his son said, Daddy, what's wrong? And he says, I used to be a brother, and now I'm not anymore. And his other son said, that's okay, Daddy. We'll be your brothers. And it was so sweet.
Oh, I actually cried. I'm lying.
I'm getting emotional right now. That, man.
Yeah, I started crying. It's like, holy crap. Zac Efron is good.
So as down as you get, the movie lifts you back up at the end.
The Lord has blessed us all our lives, and we couldn't be more thankful.
Highly recommended, guys.
Yes.
If you've seen the movie, let us know what you think in the comments below. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.